I liked Oblivion and...
Yeah. Tequila?
That's about it, I think.
Was it tequila?
Tequila, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
I love tequila.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you like tequila?
What with some
Ginger ale.
ginger ale?
I hate ginger ale. No.
Ginger beer, though?
No, I don't think I like anything ginger. I hate Bianca.
God, you're showing your age, Aaron. Yeah. That's the best ginger.
I couldn't think of anyone.
That's the best ginger you could come up with.
anyone ginger.
She's probably still on EastEnders, though.
No, don't. Claire was watching that tonight. That programme is awful.
Have you seen Ross Kemp's doing a game show now?
Bridge of Lies. Only because I finished work early tonight and I put the telly on and that was on.
Who thought, should we get Ross Kemp to do a game show? Seems like a bizarre idea to me.
Is he wearing his army camouflage gear?
Yeah, probably. Running away.
Team behind him. Anyway, on that note, this isn't the television we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
This was Gareth's band, so do you want to introduce them, Gareth? Who are we talking about today?
Not Terrorvision.
No, not Terrorvision.
But Television. Maybe one of the most influential, quietly revolutionary punk bands to come out of New York in the 70s.
Gotta say, I've never listened to him.
Nor had I. I'd heard of them, but I've never listened to them.
Yeah, I've not been a fan for a long time. Probably last 5 to 10 years, maybe. But yeah, only through hearing other bands cite them as an influence.
So you kind of felt compelled to go back and check them out.
Yeah, I think that was kind of, how I got into them. It wasn't and it's a weird one because I always remember working in HMV when I did, never into them at that point, but I always remember the album cover for Marquee Moon for some reason, just seeing it on the shelf.
Do you know what? I recognise that cover as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a striking cover as well. They look kind of,
Very gaunt as well.
Yeah.
Should we see how many references to TV programmes we can get in? Do you remember, like, on the football channel where the England team, whenever they were interviewed, they would try and get in...
the 90 World Cup, they kept... As a prank, they kept saying certain things. What was it they were trying to do?
It was names of songs or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
It was,
right,
wasn't it? Yeah, 90s songs. That's right. It was, wasn't it?
Bonus points if anyone can get Wogan into the podcast tonight. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, Gareth.
Should we go straight into it? Do you want to talk about your week, James? Tell us about your broken toe.
Oh, well, thanks. You've just told everyone about my broken toe. I broke my toe playing football. Still managed to go to a gig, though.
Did you? What
Yeah,
one?
on Sunday.
Didn't go in the mosh pit, though.
No, almost. Got trapped in the mosh pit. I had to run away from that very quickly. Hobble away from that very, very quickly.
What gig did you go to?
Went to go and see Death from Above, in brackets 1979, with this mook over here.
Death from Above.
Yeah.
And
It kicked off.
it kicked off.
Did it? What way?
Like in a good way.
No, the gig,
Not in a... I mean, there's plenty of punching and kicking.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the bruises to prove it.
Yeah.
Are they heavy then?
Yeah. I think they're framed as disco punk or something like that.
I don't know, some wanky label on it, but yeah, they're quite heavy.
They're heavy.
Just bass and drums.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
From Canada. And every now and then, so I was standing just at the point where the mosh ended. So I was at a safe distance. And every now and then, Gareth would come running up to me. And he was just drenched in sweat. He was absolutely sodden every time he came. This is brilliant.
So he was in there by himself?
Yeah.
He was going back to check on mum.
Yeah,
having a good time. You all right?
Can you take my coat?
Yeah, he's holding my coat. It was crazy. I mean, I didn't think I'd be doing that when I was 45, but yeah, it was good fun.
It was great.
So sweaty. It's bonkers.
How's your week been?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, been at work and that. Went to see Nevermind the Buzzcocks last night.
Did you?
Show that.
So who was on that?
So it's Manchester versus Britpop. And so you had Bez on one scene. He was the team captain, and Clint Boone, is it, from In Spiral Carpets? So they were obviously the Manchester side. And then you had Patsy Kensit on the Britpop side. And I can't remember his name, but the drummer from Supergrass.
Oh, okay.
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it funny? Like as a
To be fair, there's moments in it when you're like, oh, that's, like it drags on a bit, but there are also funny moments. So yeah, it was good. It was worth it. And in between, they have like someone warming up the crowd, keeps you all going, telling jokes and just a bit of banter with the crowd. So
Yeah.
it was good. And it's good to see it in action. And to be fair, Greg Davies is very professional. He's very good.
Is he?
Yeah, because he involves the crowd as well. Because I suppose he's a stand-up comedian as well, so he knows how to do that, doesn't he?
Bit of a, just before we get back on track, can I just ask everyone what is their favourite era of Nevermind the Buzzcocks?
I think it's mine was Simon Ansel. Yeah, I must admit he was quite bloody ruthless, wasn't he?
More than Mark Lamar?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. He was quite scathing. He was.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, I
small
enjoyed
little
it.
thing, but he was fucking ruthless, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I like
Mark Lamar was funny as well.
Mark Lamar was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Simon Ansel was brilliant.
This is how old we felt last night. So I was talking to one of the production team last night. She was only late 20s, early 30s. I was asking her how long she'd been doing it. She's like 3 years. And she said, oh, do you like it? I said, oh, yeah, I've loved it since Mark Lamar. And her face was just like, who? I was just like, fucking hell.
He's a 1950s big man.
Yeah. Made me feel really hard. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Why do I do this? Let's talk about television.
So another band that was before our time, like the production assistant, floor manager, whatever.
Yeah.
We weren't born when this band started.
No, there'd be some person going, on television would be like, who?
Well, nearly though, weren't you?
Yeah, 1 year later. I mean, they did do an album in 78 when we was born.
There you go.
And they did an album
That is true.
after that.
Yeah, 92.
And we was kind of into music as well. We was just starting our music journey, I reckon.
True.
Well, actually, they started in 1973.
Formed in 1973, correct. Fact check, yes.
Yes.
First gig, 1974.
So what did they have music-wise then in that time? Were they doing covers or...?
No, I think they're writing their own stuff. So when they first formed, it was Richard Hell was in the band.
Great name.
Great name, not his actual name. I think it was Tom Verlaine, not his real name.
No, he was named after a French poet
French
or
poet,
something?
yeah.
Symbolist poet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But he had no kind of knowing of that poet, he just liked the name.
He just,
Yeah, he
is
just
that
liked
right?
the name, yeah, apparently, which is fair enough. And Richard Hell were school friends. Yeah, I think Richard Hell went off the rails. And
So they didn't have a falling out or something, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I think Richard Hell kind of dropped out of school and I think he went to New York, and then Tom Verlaine stayed on and then eventually moved to New York, and they kind of got back together, and that's when they formed the band. I think originally called the Neon Boys.
And they
Neon
formed
Boys, yes.
with drummer Bill Ficker.
Bill Ficker, yeah.
And that was in the early 70s in New York.
Yeah.
Apparently you can listen. There is a couple of songs available of the Neon Boys.
Oh, really?
But I didn't listen to them.
I've not gone that deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, then that soon changed. And
In 73?
73 became television.
Yeah, when Richard Lloyd joined the band.
Other guitarist.
Yeah.
First gig, 74. And then they had a famous CBGB's gig where they kind of met the guy outside and blagged a gig. And they built the stage, apparently.
Yeah, didn't they get like a regular slot?
It became known as their like television's bar.
Yeah.
And people had to get their kind of permission to play there. And they would kind of choose the bands that kind of played. Which is crazy when you think of some of the names around at that time that were playing there.
Yeah.
Like, the Buzzcocks and Patti Smith and
But apparently
Blondie.
they begged the guy to play on the basis that they said that they could do everything that they needed to do to play at the CBGB.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. What does CBGB stand for?
I haven't got a clue. CBGB? Don't know.
Go on, I don't know.
The full name of the club is called CBGB-OMFUG.
Oh my fucking God.
Stands for Country, Bluegrass, Blues and Other Music for Uplifting Gourmandiers.
I thought it was oh my fucking God. OMFG.
Did you know that?
There's a U in there, though.
How was it? Oh my fucking...
Uncle God?
Yeah.
Ugly God?
Ugly God, yeah, that sounds good.
So, yeah. I didn't know that. So, apparently it was a place originally for country, bluegrass and blues.
I didn't know that. No, that's interesting. Well, I think they became a bit of a house band, didn't they? They used to... play there regularly.
Yeah.
Were they punk then, though?
I think they were kind of shoeboxed into that kind of punk thing.
Proto-punk, new wave.
New wave.
Because I read a thing that they were kind of seen as post-punk, even though punk hadn't been post then. As such, it was a really weird. They were like ahead of their time, I'm guessing what they're saying.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you had the
kind of
Ramones coming around at that time. They'd been out for a couple of years, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was kind of an extension of what punk could be.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of took away all the distortion and that, and it was kind of like a more cleaner sound. And
yeah, I noticed that a lot. I quite liked that.
Yeah, so, you know, it wasn't like the kind of fast and loud Ramones punky sound, distorted sound. It was clean, and it was, you know, they were accomplished guitarists. They were great, you know, players.
They were like twin guitarists, wasn't it, as well? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I think that was one of their USPs, was the fact that they had this kind of
Interwoven.
almost battle, a battle off between the guitars. They'd play off against each other, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it was all quite angular, wasn't it? It wasn't,
was.
you know, it wasn't like 3 chord punk songs. It was like, you know, thought out.
Yeah.
Some kind of jazzy influences in there, angular sort of sounds.
There's some blues elements in there, I felt.
Yeah.
And another thing I know we spoke about it last time on song lengths, but for a punk band, actually, their song lengths were quite long.
Yeah.
Whereas punk's normally quite in and out.
It is, isn't it?
There's like 4 5-minute songs, even one of them's like 10 minutes, isn't it? But
yeah.
And I think that's the difference between Richard Hell and
Tom Verlaine. Yeah, Richard Hell was more of the punk guy, and he was kind of credited as dressing up, you know, in these kind of leathers and spiky hair, like way
Ripped
before
clothes
Sid Vicious did it,
jumping around like a loon. Whereas Verlaine's like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?"
And I think that's, you know, eventually they pushed him out like way before that first album. So I think it was 75.
75.
Kind of like, Richard Hell was forced out, and then he was replaced by Fred Smith.
Marquee, I thought it was 77, that album.
The album was 77.
Yeah.
But
right, okay.
Richard Hell was ousted in 75.
Oh, okay, right, I get you.
He left in 75. Went on to form the Heartbreakers.
Voidoids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to...
That's a hard one to stomach, isn't it?
Yeah. With Heartbreakers with...
Johnny Thunders.
Over New York Dolls. Right.
Yeah.
I don't really know this scene at all, but I think there was a hell of a lot going on.
The New York punk scene was quite big, wasn't it? Around here? You had Patti Smith and all that, didn't you? And
Patti Smith, Blondie,
who Hell's replacement was ex-Blondie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Fred Smith, yeah.
Yeah. Like a whole thing going on. I've never really understood what was actually happening in New York at that time.
no. I know there was a New York punk scene in the late 70s, that's about it. Like the Velvet Underground, were they part of that as well?
Yeah, they were probably a bit before that. I think they were quite an influence on television, if I'm honest.
Yes. And I think what was happening was that sort of scene, the Velvet Underground, Andy Warhol, that whole New York scene was beginning to collapse a little bit.
Right.
And from that were coming all these new bands like the Ramones, New York Dolls, you know, glam rock bands, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Feels complicated to me, that whole scene.
There was a lot going on, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But then they recorded before Marky Moon, they did an EP, didn't they? With Brian Eno produced it.
But he didn't like it though.
No. I don't know if I've not heard it. I don't know if it ever got released.
No.
But yeah.
I think it was demos and they were like, we don't like what he's done.
No. Sacked him off, didn't they?
They did.
Sacked off Brian Eno.
Yeah.
Of all people.
How dare they?
How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they touch our Eno?
But what I like, apparently they did release one single before Marquee Moon, which I did make a note of the name, but I can't remember it. But what was interesting about it was a single over 2 sides.
Oh, really?
It was
so
one
long.
song on 2 sides, yeah.
Let's turn it around halfway.
Yeah. And I had a little listen to it earlier. It wasn't great.
No. What's it called? You can't remember.
I've written it down. I'll find it. So carry on amongst yourselves.
Should we move on then?
Yeah, move on.
Move on.
Move on without me.
To the
Little Johnny Jewel.
Little Johnny Jewel.
Released in 1975.
Okay.
One song on 2 sides.
Because it was so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, 77, Marquee Moon.
Marquee Moon.
I'm interested because obviously you guys, when I suggested doing these, I don't think either of you had really knew them.
No.
So I'm interested to get your thoughts on the album and where it sits with you.
So I listened to it once. I struggled. Listened to it again. And I was like, actually, it's quite good. Listened to it. So it's a grower. So I listened to it a third time and I was like, actually, yeah, I was starting to pick up little bits about it. So I think it will grow on me, and I liked it. And I've mentioned this earlier, what I'm starting to realise what I'm liking about music doing this is very much harmonies and melodies.
Right.
So I really liked the music, but his voice was just kind of grating on me a little bit. It was ruining. And I know it's very punky, but I'm not a great punk guy, to be fair. But yeah, it was just when the vocals started to come in, I was just a bit like, But I really liked the background music and the guitars and that.
Yeah.
I was like, and they were very clean and like you say, very unpunk, and I really liked that. I was like, I really like the music. I wouldn't say ruined it by the singing, but I've never been on board with punk singing really. So
Have you not?
no.
But I thought you like Green Day, right? You love Green Day.
Yeah, but it's also
they
got
are
very
punk.
good. Yeah, but it's got a very good melody as well. I find with
okay.
Green Day. I just don't think it's had much melody. A lot of it's kind of it's a spoken word. Some of it was, and
It is
it's a
very
bit like that.
spoken,
So
yeah.
I think I struggle with spoken word lyrics, and I like melody and
okay.
harmony, and that's what I'm saying. I'm starting to learn. Listening to this kind of stuff, what I'm kind of learning about music about myself. Actually, it's quite a good little experiment. Something like that. So
You like singing, as opposed to.
I do like
speaking.
music as well, but I like it all together.
Yeah.
Like this just came in and it was a bit like, that just ruined it a little bit for me. So yeah, I've learned that about myself. Yeah, but right. I do like a lot of punk influence, like like Rage Against the Machine, Green Day. But I also find I've got good melody and harmony as well.
Yeah.
I liked Friction.
Yeah.
Marquee Moon was quite good, but it did go on a bit.
That's
That was
great.
a 10-minute one, but yeah.
So much tension and release in
Yeah,
that song.
it was
I love
good.
It. I love it. Yeah, it's weird. I'm right in the middle of the album, isn't it? Well, I think it's the end of the first side on the vinyl.
Do you have the vinyl?
I do. A recent copy, not an original copy, but yeah. What are your thoughts, James?
What are my thoughts? Well,
Your in-depth notes, track by track.
obviously, there's a lot of bands that have been influenced by this band. But again, I don't really see what the fuss is about.
No?
I like the interplay between the two guitars, and you can see that a lot in other bands like The Strokes, and I mean, there's a lot going on, I think. Great start to the album. See No Evil is a fantastic track. It's tight, great drumming. Yeah, just really, really enjoy that. Venus sucks the life out a bit.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. Bowie-ish. Marquee Moon, obviously the hook is the hook and it's great, but it's just too long.
I think I like that about it.
I don't think it adds anything by being that long.
No?
Because there's not enough of a variation within the track.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how I felt about it. I mean, fuck me, I've listened to Medal by Pink Floyd, and there's one 25-minute track. So I understand that you can have long tracks, but that just went on a bit too long. But it is a good album,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I don't think you can really pin down television to one genre.
No, I think there's some jazzy kind of undertones in there. I think there's prog in there.
Bit of Grease in there.
Grease Lightning.
Yeah. Guiding Light. If you listen to Guiding Light,
I quite like that one.
it sounds like it could have come from the Grease soundtrack.
That's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just like there's a real mix of
Yeah, I
things
quite
going
liked
on.
Guiding Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Interesting.
Produced by Andy Johns.
Who's Andy Johns?
He produced Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones, and he's the brother of Glyn Johns, who produced some Led Zeppelin stuff.
Yeah.
And he was also the the original producer of Let It Be by the Beatles, who then got...
Bloody hell.
And then, obviously, Phil Spector came in.
And they worked with Kevin
Killed
Bacon.
Yeah.
It's like the 6 degrees
Yeah,
of Kevin
that's it.
Bacon.
But yeah, the Johns family, massive in production.
Are they?
Yeah, so you got Andy and Glyn, who are brothers. Glyn's son, Ethan, who's done a lot of...
What's his
production.
surname?
Johns.
Oh, okay.
Johns. The Johns.
Is there anyone called John Johns?
John Johns.
Good night, John.
What was that, Waltons?
Yeah.
Or Little House on the Prairie?
John Boy, wasn't it, actually?
Yeah. Do you get a sense of any of that coming through in the album?
No, I don't think so. No, personally not, no.
Because Verlaine actually liked to sort of... I've noticed that he's co-producer on all 3 albums, isn't he?
I think given the option, he would have been a solo artist. I think he wanted control. Yeah. I think that's why they ended up splitting up.
What, after a year?
Yeah,
of the
I think
release?
there was like too much friction between him and Richard Lloyd, the other guitarist, because he just wanted like full control.
A lot of egos going on, isn't there?
A lot of egos. Hold on to your ego.
And there's a lot of stuff going on in 1977 as well. Must have been hard to sort of like make its way through to cut through so much. I mean, when you've got the likes of disco coming through, you've got the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Wonder, all these sort of...
Elvis died.
But I get the impression that they weren't a big hit at first, television. I think they took a little while, didn't they, to become known as a bit of an influence. I know now they're kind of seen as, and this album is, isn't it? But I think I read that it took quite a while to get to that stage.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I read as well. It's, I suppose it's a bit different, was it? I mean, I suppose you had Talking Heads around at the time as well. I suppose a bit more arty, weren't they?
Were
Talking
they at
Heads.
the same time?
Yeah, it's similar. I think their first album must have been about 77. Must have been.
I mean, it is quite similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that kind of, yeah.
For Talking Heads. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why it's held in critically in such high esteem.
There's a lot going on in that album. It's not as one note as you think it is. There's a lot going on in there. Might not all work, but you've got almost like film, like Torn Curtains, quite filmic, isn't it? It feels like a soundtracky, noir-y type of thing.
And then, only a year later, still churning them out, Adventure.
No, I have to say this, when my ears perked up, I quite liked Adventure.
Yeah, it's far more melodic, I think.
Yeah, much
Marquee
more
Moon.
enjoyable to Marquee Moon.
I found it cleaner. And there's actually, I was going to say, there's a song on there called Days
Yeah.
that REM could have written. The guitaring on that was basically REM.
That and the first track, Glory.
Yeah, I can't remember that, but I listened to that day. I remember listening. I think, fuck it, this is just like Peter Buck's playing this guitar.
Well, funny you say that, because he's known as being quoted as saying Marquee Moon changed his life.
Yeah, but yeah, Dave, that song particularly, I remember like the guitar, it was really clean production, and I was just like, Christ, this is like an REM song.
Yeah.
And then this voice come in, and it kind of made me think it's not like an REM song.
Michael Tripe.
Yeah.
Can I just go back a little bit? What do you think of Marquee Moon? What stands out for you? What made it for you?
It's the guitar work.
Yeah.
It's all about that guitar work, and his kind of narrative solos and the interweaving between him and Richard Lloyd. I think it's just, and the clean sound. It's like you don't
really
hear that
clean,
very
isn't it?
often.
Now, does that come from the guitar they used, or is it production as well? I mean, how do you...
It'd just be the guitar and amp, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any distortion on it, but
Okay.
there'd be some production in there, I guess. But you just didn't hear it in that scene at that time, I guess. It was all kind of, as I said earlier, like 3-chord distorted kind of punk songs.
And how do you think that sort of interplay would work? Do you think they'd work as a team to come up with that, or do you think it's a sort of listen to what I've got? Oh, I could play against it.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I was watching something earlier that they said they got together. Someone said, I know this guy. I can't remember which way around it was, but you'd really get on. They're like, well, why? And he's like, because all he does is stay at home and play guitar all day, and that's all you do. And they were just like 2 guys who just like play guitar all day. And I think if you're that good of a musician or a guitarist, then I guess it just happens. You kind of,
Yeah, and if you're both doing it all
There'll be
day,
a-
I
yeah,
suppose,
be a-
just throw enough shit at the wall, something's going to stick eventually.
There's always going to be
Yeah.
a connection. But there would have been just like a connection as well. I think it's like with Keith Richards and Ronnie Woods in the Rolling Stones. They've always said there's this kind of connection where they can just interplay with each other and they know what each other's going to play.
Yeah, just bounce off each other,
Just,
don't they?
Yeah, it works very well.
yeah. I like his voice. So I'm the opposite.
I'm
I really
not
like
offended by his voice at all.
Yeah, I quite like it. But yeah, and I think going obviously, as I say, I only got into them 5 or so years ago, or whatever. And just hearing them, and then kind of hearing all the other bands that have come after, especially throughout the 90s, the kind of like late 90s, early noughties. There was a lot of bands that were kind of mimicking that.
Specifically Marquee Moon or television itself.
Probably more Marquee Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, the other albums I like, and I like Adventure, but there's something about Marquee Moon I just love.
It's got some angles to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not smooth like Adventure is.
No.
It's got
Yeah. Adventure's far more polished, a bit more melodic, which, it's great. I really like it. But yeah, Marky
doesn't
Moon
have
is
a
the
hardness.
one.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think that's all. I think that's all down to producing, right? Because I think they had a new producer in for Adventure. This guy called John Jansen came in who did.
Oh, okay. He did Adventure, did he?
He worked on with the Who,
Right.
Supertramp, Alice Cooper. This is just to name but a few. Barry Manilow.
Oh, could it be magic?
Yeah, if you play your cards right, Gareth.
Mandy.
And I think they purposely softened the sound to make it less aggressive. Well, I don't find Marky Moon particularly aggressive.
No, it's quite angular, isn't it?
Yeah,
compared to Adventure, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely Glory in Days, 100%. You can hear where REM have got their sound. And Foxhole.
Yes. Did you struggle with Foxhole?
Do you think the Clash got any influence from that? It felt quite British.
Possibly. Well, the first Clash album was 1977, wasn't it, as well? But
So I wonder if there's a bit of influence going back to television then, if that's the case. Because there was a reference to Clash in there, or a feeling of Clash in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how would they,
time, wasn't it?
in that time, though, how do you hear that music? It's not as easy as getting access to it. Obviously, Clash were a British band, weren't they? Like, it's not as easy as hearing bands across the pond as such, then. It must have taken a long while to hear.
No, but people in the scene would have had all the best stuff, right?
John Peel.
John Peel.
John Johns.
John Johns.
Fucking Johns everywhere.
Fucking Johns. Popular name in the 70s.
And the next track as well, Careful.
Yeah.
That feels British punk to me.
There must have been a definite crossover there,
With
wasn't
some
there?
Beach Boy harmonies. There's some Beach Boy harmonies in there.
So you...
I think you just heard too much Beach Boys by then.
But they would have been like... The British bands would have been touring America at that point and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it all became probably one, didn't it? I'm sure... the British bands were going over and playing CBGBs and the American bands were coming over here and playing the Marquee or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more stealing as such.
Yeah.
It was easier to do it and get away with it then, wasn't it?
Absorbing, perhaps.
Yeah. But you got that. You also got that a lot in... It crossed over to film in the 70s. 70s cinema was very much like that, wasn't it? You had all like Scorsese, Spielberg, Lucas and... Kubrick and all, they were all like nicking ideas from
each other.
Yeah. I think it was just that time.
Do you think that's because flights were getting easier and it was all...
I think it was easy to do it.
Globalisation of the world was occurring.
It was easy to do it, but it wasn't too obvious as well. Now, if you do it, it's so obvious because you've got internet and that, and you can just like plagiarism and copyright and things like that. It's so easy. You could probably get away with it easier then as well.
Yeah.
Because you could do it, you could see it, but you could also go... I don't know, you can visit New York City's band and go to another town and no one wouldn't even know anything about it.
No, I know, yeah.
And then you would be seen as being the pioneers of that thing, but you've actually nicked it from... I think it was just easier to do then.
Yeah.
I think everyone was probably doing a bit of it. I think it was a very creative time, and it was, post-Vietnam as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Vietnam ended 75, didn't it?
Yeah, so I think at time in America, people were getting very creative when they're getting very fed up with it and just going out and doing their own things.
Yeah. But it's probably only one real down note on Adventure, and I would say that it's Adventure.
Not the single.
The track, yeah. Bit status quo for me.
Yeah.
And it feels like a bit of a breakup track.
It probably was.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, I didn't do nothing about another 14 years, so...
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. So I think this was kind of like Tom Verlaine saying, "You're going to do what I want to do."
Yeah.
And that was it. They just kind of pushed everyone away, and that was it. Split up. Done.
Definitely softer, and for me, I prefer this album to Marky Moon.
It's because you're a soft lad.
I am a soft lad. But then...
14 years.
14 bloody years.
That's a long old time.
That's a long time, isn't it? And interesting, they came back with an original lineup as well. Quite unusual. Normally these bands reform when there's normally someone who doesn't come back. But yeah, didn't last long. They came back.
But Beach Boys, by the way, had done 75 albums in between their break.
So many harmonies.
Yeah.
So this was just produced by them, right? This self-titled album in '92. And Phil, what do you think of the singing?
Yeah, different. It came back different. Softer.
He's changed, isn't he?
Yeah. More huskier. A bit more like Nick Cave.
Oh, really?
kind
Is
of.
that you got?
Yeah, I did notice that. It was very softer and older, obviously.
Growly.
Yeah. You could say it was an older voice, more mature.
I'm wondering if it felt like a deliberate change.
I suppose it would have been weird after 14 years to come back exactly the same. I don't know. Maybe it's more like we need to show we're grown up.
But again, I mean, I didn't mind his voice in the first place, but actually
No.
I really like his voice on this album.
Yeah, I must admit, I did notice it straight away. I thought it was very
Struck me.
soft.
It's very soft, yeah.
Yeah.
Very soft. Far more quiet in it. It's a bit more atmospheric, I think, than anything done before. Remind me a lot of Lloyd Cole and the Commotions, who were like a similar sort of time. Not because they were influenced by each other, just that
90s.
kind of sound.
90.
Yeah, I think late 80s,
I
early
don't know
90s.
Lloyd Cole and the
You
Commotions.
need to check out Rattlesnakes. What an album. That's who I heard more than
Okay.
Nick Cave. Yeah. But no, it's good. I hadn't really heard it much, to be fair, before we started doing this. I've kind of
Bluesier.
done, yeah.
The hell? That was television. That was. Gets hold of.
Do you think?
Was that 1880 or so? Yeah, it's a good
I
track.
like that track.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
really good. Bit Bowie-ish.
Bit Lloyd Cole.
But Shane, she wrote this. That's REM-ish.
Yeah.
With a Nick Cave singing style. I've written it down.
Which is probably why I kind of liked it, to be fair.
Call Mr. Lee, I like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sleazy.
sleazy. Yeah, it's a bit
It
sleazy.
is a bit sleazy. I like rhyme. That's kind of really moody. I like that. It's moody.
Tell us some of the other words you've got against these tracks. Sleazy.
I've actually written
moody.
down Chris Isaac-esque.
What for rhyme?
Yeah. What
like
was the
Wicked
song he
Game?
did? Yeah, a bit like that. Felt like it could be on like a Twin Peaksy type soundtrack, you know? That sort of echoey guitar. Yeah, no,
Let's
it's
do
good.
that.
I really like this. I really like this album.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me. I said I'd not really listened to it before I mentioned doing television.
It's not often you get a band that's been away for quite so long to come back with actually a really decent album.
Got musical chops, haven't they?
They have. I think they have.
And then why did they not come back again? Do we know? Did they just split
Just
up
had
again?
enough again. Yeah, it was the same sort of
Really?
friction between Elaine and Lloyd. They just couldn't
Just didn't
work
work.
with each other. Yeah.
Because sometimes that relationship can work, can't it? It can be of benefit to the overall project.
Yeah. I think they reformed a couple of times, did some live shows. They played
Yeah.
like some, I think there's some stuff from like as late as 2014 when playing together.
That late.
Yeah, so I think they came back and did some live shows, but yeah, that was it. And then I think Verlaine passed away 2023, maybe, I think it was.
Oh, fuck, he's dead. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tom Verlaine passed away.
Shit.
Prostate cancer.
Really?
Complications, yeah. Get checked, lads.
Bloody hell. Yeah, I know, right?
No, I have. I've been checked.
Have you? All good?
Felt good. I didn't actually. It was blood test.
It's all blood tests now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
They're taking
Is
the
it
fun
really?
out of it.
Yeah, it's blood test.
Oh, right, okay.
I requested it actually because I went for like a medical. I just said, they just said, anything you ask? I just said, yeah. I said, why don't we get prostate checked? And she just said, yeah, I agree with you. And I said, well, can I? And she went, yeah, we'll do you for a blood test. I was like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't do it until after 50, apparently, for me. But I was just
really?
like, why
Yeah,
don't-
50,
but
yeah.
I think you should get it done before that. I was just like, well, can I get it done? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well,
Let's
get it
go.
done. Yeah.
I don't think we've really touched on who they influenced. I think we've mentioned REM,
Yeah.
but who else did they influence?
Joy Division,
Yeah,
Cure, maybe,
yeah.
Wire,
Not really heard Wire.
Sonic Youth.
Sonic Youth, yeah.
Who else got listed here? Interpol, I've gone as well.
You know, they're New Yorkers, weren't they?
Interpol, yeah.
Future Heads.
Yeah, I can see that,
first
actually.
album,
Yeah.
I think, is very
Decent
influenced.
days and
And Block Party.
Really?
for the Angular.
Yep, for the guitar sound.
Yeah, definitely on that first album. Absolutely. 100%.
100%, completely.
So, top 10s?
Top tens?
Top songs, top albums.
Top albums was only
So
three.
I've been watching a lot of Top of the Pops recently.
Okay, albums. I went. There you go.
From bottom to
Right,
top.
3 I went television, 2 I went marquee, moon, and 1 I went adventure.
I went Marky Moon, Television and Adventure.
Is that your 3, 2, 1? Television, Adventure, Marky Moon. There we go.
Yeah.
Different.
Do you want to play a lyric game?
What?
Do we have to?
Of course we do.
It.
Of course we do. It's our favourite part of the night.
You've got one of your witty names.
Yeah, you better have a decent name.
I've gone really witty tonight. Okay, so let's play this week's lyric game.
Yes.
So this is where I get lyrics from artificial intelligence and lyrics from the band, and you have to decide what one's what.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got television, this week's band. Could have shortened it to TV and AI. But no, you've got to tell me if it's from television or if it's from artificial intelligence. That's as good as
That's a real letdown.
That's as good as it gets today. I couldn't be bothered.
Forget it.
Right, are you ready? I really couldn't do that anymore. Okay. All this night, running loud, I hear the whispers and I hear the shouts.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
I've got a feeling this could just be a lot
your
of guessing.
band.
It's a total guess. Television.
Artificial intelligence.
It is from television, Guiding Light. Okay. And she said, everything fades except the spin, then vanished through the violin.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Correct, it is artificial intelligence. And the elevator groans a hymn for all the guests who won't check in.
Television.
Television.
Artificial intelligence.
Damn you, computers.
The hallway bends like melted glass. I saw myself as someone else pass. She whispered truths in charcoal ink on matchbook pages we used to think.
Television.
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 Artificial intelligence. Terrible. If I ever catch that ventriloquist, I'll squeeze his head right into my fist.
Television.
Yeah, television.
From Friction, you're right. Okay, one more?
One more.
You know it's like some new kind of drug. My senses are sharp and my hands are like gloves.
Am I going first?
You are, sure. Turn to
Mother
go
puss
first.
buckets.
But you're winning. I think you should go first.
Fuck that. We take it in turns.
You just copy him.
Yeah, I know.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Television. It's from the song of Venus.
Oh, you suck just as bad as me.
Gareth wins.
Can we do songs?
We can do some
We've done
songs,
some songs?
choice cuts.
Some choice cuts?
I haven't done a... I can pick some songs though, but...
Yeah, let's pick some songs.
EastEnders theme tune.
Do, 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 do.
Key of C. What have I gone for? Marky Moon. I've got my favourites. See No Evil.
That's number one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an opener. All right. Marky Moon.
I got number 2, Days.
Yeah, I liked Days. So I haven't got that. I've got it in no order, but I liked Days.
Yeah, I've got no order.
I got Friction.
Yeah, I got Friction.
I like Guiding Light.
I got Prove It.
Marky Moon was up there because it's just a bit too long, but yeah. Elevate. I didn't mind Elevation as well, actually.
I got Rhyme
Yeah.
off television, isn't it?
I've got the 1880 or so as well. I quite liked that.
Glory and Mars,
No, Mars
which is
good.
the last track off television.
I've got Foxhole and Ain't
Yeah,
That
that's a good
Nothing.
one. And what?
Ain't That Nothing.
Yeah,
off
that's
of
good.
Adventure.
When I was listening to them, I was wondering what I would happily listen to, like just on a Sunday afternoon or something like that. And I have to say, like television, like the 92 album,
Yeah.
that's something I think you could just listen to at any time. Whereas I think you need to be in a particular mood to listen to Marquee Moon or Adventure. That's my thought anyway. But a really good band and a really good choice, Gareth.
I'm
Yeah, I
glad you
think I
enjoyed
need.
it.
To, I think I need to listen to them more.
Yeah.
I think they're a band I would go back to. I had
Yeah.
like unfinished business with them. Do you know what I mean? I think there's more I could get out of it if I listened to it more.
And I think any band that Pete Buck loves.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
The guitar work
Definitely.
was very good.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And until next time,
Yeah, who we go? Oh, man, who we going to
good
pick?
night.
Who we going to pick? That's good. Who we going to pick?
Decisions.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
This has been a Kiss the Curb production, produced by Barry at Backwater Channel Studios. Music by Ben Bailey. Talking About is presented by Gareth Norman, James Gentle, and Philip Reynolds.